how did Jupiter Jet come to be at Action Lab?
Fortunately, so everyone has their list of companies they want to work with. We had Action Lab on our short list because we wanted Jupiter Jet to go to a company. We wanted to be in Diamond and we wanted to be in comic shops. So that sort of changes the types of publishing houses that you're looking at, because there are some incredible publishing houses, including Bedside Press, that's doing our new book, that doesn't deal with retailers in a traditional way, and that's fine. And that's a new paradigm that comic shops are learning to balance. But so we wanted a publisher that would put us in Diamond. We wanted a YA-friendly company, because YA is, and all ages are in comics, those are kind of weird words, because in book publishing, YA is king. Look at Hunger Games, look at Twilight, whether or not you like that stuff, look at Harry Potter, like those are all YA books, and they're some of the biggest franchises in the world and continue to be. But in comics, there's this idea that once it gets all ages, it can't be gritty or it can't be interesting. And I kind of think that's a post-90s mentality, but interesting enough, in the 90s, you can look at Nightwing and you can look at Batman, and you could have given those comics to a child and it would have been okay, and you can't do that with comics now. But some of the all-time great comic book stories are like Batman Adventures, Superman Adventures, that rolled out of those cartoons. And it's an economy of storytelling because of the audience it's looking to, but it doesn't sacrifice the narrative. And I think it takes a very specific retailer to know how to sell that and to have curated an audience for that. So we went to Action Lab because we liked Molly Danger. And we were like, I don't know, this is another Jetpack Girl. Maybe you'll go for it, or maybe you'll tell us to go away forever. And then what we did, it's really easy. You just look up who's their editor, or you look up who edits the type of book that you think you want to do. And even if they're not necessarily in a small company like Action Lab, they're often the people who can greenlight a book or who can get it into the room. At bigger companies, not necessarily, but we didn't hound them, but we went to a couple conventions. We showed them what we had. We checked in. We followed up with an email, and we kept following up with emails. And eventually they said, they took it into a meeting, and everyone said yes, because like most publishers, they kind of have a brain trust, and most people have to say yes. And then when you're a new creator, you have to finish the book before they solicit it. So you sort of like panic make the book in the ensuing year after that. But Action Lab was the first one who said yes to us. And we did reach out to some publishers that have a larger presence, that after we put the book out, they said, oh, why didn't you send us this? And we're like, I assure you, it's in this editor's inbox. But when you send unsolicited pitches, it's hard to know if anyone's going to open them. And when you're doing your first creator-owned thing, you have to know that going in and not take it too personally.
It's a process. It's funny how it's a stepping stone process. It's like you get in one place, and then all of a sudden you get in at the next place, and then the next place, and then all of a sudden you have relationships everywhere, and everyone will continue to work with you kind of once you've proven yourself that you can be someone who's easy to work with and pleasant to work with. So,
and I'm sure you know, having published your own book, but once you have the thing in your hand, people will treat you differently. You sort of I guess a gate gets unlocked. Like there's no more, the gate, you get a different gatekeeper after that point. And people will look at you, and people will look at your work who previously might not have, or might not have looked at it in a pitch stage. And that's okay.
It's true. It's really crazy. It's like you go from being an aspiring creator to an actual creator in a lot of people's eyes. And the threshold to entry is so minimal now, because it's just about finding an artist you can work with and making it happen. Those are like, that's it. After that, it's all in your hands. You have to be just that persistent person that's always pushing.
I think we're so fortunate to be making comics now, because it's still really hard, and all creative things are hard, and it's hard to make money at it, and like there's all these things to complain about, but we have so many more avenues now. Like Webtoons is making incredible comics. Check Please, that started as a Tumblr comic, is being published by, I think it's First Second this week. Like she did a Kickstarter, she made the collections, and now it's been picked up by a publisher. Like there's less barriers to entry, but because of that, I think it forces us to have to be more creative and to be better, which is only ultimately better for the industry.